Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about these. These are the UNIGEAR electric heated rechargeable gloves. I'm really excited to talk about these. I've been using them for a while. It is 10 below with the wind chill right now, and as you can see, these are activated right now. Got the light on both of them. Very, very happy I brought these today because it's cold out. And so I want to start off by just talking about some of the features, the build design, some things I noticed as a guy from Minnesota, a place where we actually need stuff like this. So the first thing I want to do is show you that you need to charge it. When you get your product, you're going to take out those battery packs, you're going to charge it. I have an outlet that has a Type-C as well as standard USB type charging, and thankfully, even if you don't have a Type-C, this is just an adapter. And so I think that's a very forward-thinking design there. I see a lot more Type-C charging ports around in the area, and I think it's a good idea to have something like that in case that's all you have, in case there's only a Type-C, maybe a laptop or something of that nature. But this right here, USB, obviously most computers have something like that, and then a lot of outlets are being converted to USB, or they already have been. And so this is convenient for charging, and you could always put another adapter on that typical USB up to a plug-in, a wall plug-in as well. And so very, very effective, charges fast actually. And as you can see here, this is what it's like. You just plug it in there. Taking them out of the gloves itself is easy enough. There's a zipper on the bottom half on the interior, and you just unplug it with that same type of connection right there. Man, I can't believe I'm the only person out here right now. That's wild. That's a joke for those of you who can't tell. You know, even though it's Minnesota, people don't generally just enjoy sub-zero, freezing temperatures. I do. That's because there's something wrong with me, I think. I just love it. I love being out here in the cold, and the trees are just beautiful. I mean, if you can kind of tell in the background, what happened is we had some warm temperatures of snow right around the freezing point, and it loaded up the trees, and then it dropped to sub-zero relatively quickly. And it's kind of bad for the trees because it starts breaking off limbs. It's a lot of weight on the trees, but it looks amazing. If I can just flip around here a little bit on the river, it's just so nice. The air is very crisp. Feels good just to be out here. Now I'm saying that wearing a 30 below jacket and these UNIGEAR heated gloves, electronic rechargeable gloves. And so it's easy for me to say, but I love being out here, and I really wouldn't come out here without this kind of stuff. So one thing I had to do before actually giving any sort of endorsement for this product, saying I think it's good to go, it's qualified for Minnesota, is I actually needed to use it, and I needed to use it for a while. It's really important for me to be able to plan what I'm going to do, how I'm going to stay warm on days like this. You can get frostbite in a couple minutes with unprepared conditions. If you have exposed skin, I have to be careful about my eyes and my face a little bit when it gets colder than this. When you start getting to about 20 below, your eyelids, man, your eyes leak a little bit of water, they start to freeze up on you. When you get down to 30 or 40 below, your eyes really do truly need to be protected. And every square inch of your body always needs to be covered up. And your hands especially need to be warm. It's really dangerous to not have warm hands in conditions that are 30, 40 below. And if it's windy out, you add wind chill, it's insane. And so with wind chill next week, it's going to be 30 or 40 below. And I just needed to test before I go out into those conditions to know how long do these last in two ways. Number one, I needed to know passively without the electronic THANOS button there, all right, without the electronic button there, how long do these things last with just passive insulation? And I know that they're kind of waterproof and they have a good amount of insulation. They have leather reinforcement all over in the main areas, so you could actually work with these. You could ride snowmobile for a long time with these, ice fishing, you know, that kind of thing. I just needed to know in conditions that are like where I'm at right now, how long can I trust these to stay warm with just passive insulation? I've been out for a few hours today, and like I said, with the wind chill, it's about 10 below right now, and they're warm. My fingers still don't hurt. Now, usually mittens would be my go-to because I can keep all my fingers together, and a lot of times gloves fail me. These are insulated particularly well. even though it has that leather cap on there, even though it doesn't seem like they're extra fat, they are insulated particularly well. And I'm walking, I'm keeping my body sort of warm. I'm wearing a 30 below Eddie Bauer jacket that's, like 800 fill or something down. That's going to help a lot, but your fingers, their extremities, they're out far away from your internal organs, and that blood can cool off, especially if the back side of this doesn't have insulation or covering. One thing about the back of your hand, guys, I'm going to take my hand out just for a second. On the back side of your hand, you do not have a bunch of fat and meat. Even if you're a bodybuilder, up by your knuckles, there's not a lot of fat up there, and so the blood can cool very quickly and go into your fingertips. All right, on the back side of your fingertips, the nail side, very, very cold. And so if you don't have good insulation in your glove, the top part of your hand is going to cool that blood down. By the time it gets out there, you have padding on the underside, some fat on the other side, but it's going to get so cold, you're going to get frostbite in these kind of conditions if you don't have a glove with proper insulation. These actually have padding, reinforced, and kind of a preventative measure to insulate you away from cold temperatures on the top as well. And that's a really important feature I look for. I noticed the finger caps don't just have an underside protection, they have it over the top as well. You need that on the nail side. When you start getting into more and more extreme conditions, something like that is going to protect you from getting frostbite in just bad, bad situations. That being said, I've gone a few hours without turning on the button, and I'm comfortable, I'm good. Now I need to test and see how long I can go plugging in or turning on the button itself, hit that THANOS switch on the side, and see how long the battery itself can last in conditions like this. A long time. If you're riding snowmobile, you need to charge it. Oh, wow. Okay. So that just turned off. And I think the heat is slowly slipping away. So right before it went off, it flashed through the color scheme. I wonder if I can turn it on again. It did turn on again, but right before it went out, it flashed through the color scheme, went through all three colors and heat settings. There it goes. Okay, so it's off again. Now it's back to passive, and like I said, good amount of insulation. I'll easily be able to make it back to where I'm parked at today. I've got another hour of walking, but when I'm moving like this, it's a little easier on me. My toes aren't cold right now. I've got 40 below boots on. Got a 30 below jacket on. I probably already mentioned that in earlier part of the review. It's kind of my go-to gear in temperatures like this. And these gloves are really impressive. Normally, I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm a little skeptical about gloves in general because gloves tend to, they separate your fingers, and if the insulation isn't good, which to be honest with you, I had been buying really cheap, kind of economy level gloves for so long, and the gloves just couldn't keep me warm. But these, in two different ways, have done well. Passively, they've kept me warm, okay? And so I know that I can actually trust them. If that battery just, it dies out, I use it up in really cold conditions, which is when these are going to come out with me. I know that they're still going to do a great job of keeping my hands dry, that waterproofness, and then also warm. When it's this cold, I'm actually going to put my hand back in. So it's just cold enough, you're going to get frostbite relatively quickly. And then also, I know that I can start off my trip if I'm going for a 6-hour trip. That's a long day in the woods. It's a long walk. I know at least about 3 hours in temperatures that are pretty extreme for most people, they're going to keep me warm. So let's say that you're in just a slightly more southern environment. If you're just a little bit warmer than this, these are going to last you forever because you're probably not going to run them on the hottest setting. You're probably going to be fine using them for several hours, and I assume 3 hours is enough to get done what a lot of people are going to get done. One more thing I do like to mention is UNIGEAR does not just make these heated gloves, which are awesome. I also have a review out on this right here, which is a UNIGEAR electronic warmer. It's kind of a little bit more versatile, perhaps. Maybe you have kids whose hands are just too small for the electronic heated rechargeable gloves. Well, this right here is the perfect size for all of them. Not to mention this one, I just want to give a quick plug about this. It has an on and off switch on the side. It has a USB port and a USB-C, and then it also has temperature settings. So you can set this to a specific temperature that is safe for your kid. I like to use these together. In fact, This is the only reason that my phone is still alive right now. Not just because I can charge my phone with it, but because it keeps my phone warm enough from dying. It's very, very cold, and if I don't have my phone actually inside my jacket at the closest, nearest pocket, kind of like my flannel underneath that pocket inside my shirt, if I don't have my phone right in there, it usually dies very quickly, even with this exterior pocket. It's just not enough insulation. But this, when I drop that in the pocket, it warms it up. I like to use these in collaboration with these, and these are really price efficient. I do have a review out on these already, so if you're interested in another option, maybe you like the idea of rechargeable things, I really do, this is something worth looking at as well. When it comes to gloves or mittens, I need a forearm retainer like this. The strap that I'm kind of getting woven into right there, those are important so that I don't drop them, lose them. I'm terrible about setting things down and losing them or forgetting that I had them in my hands in the first place. And so if I keep it attached to me, it's really easy, just in case I have to take my hands out of those things. Usually I put a glove on first, and then I put my jacket on, and then I put the other glove on typically. But what I did right here is I put the glove over my jacket, and it has an elastic strap up on the forearm, as well as a wrist kind of ratcheting strap there with a nice tab on it. It's real high quality. It breaks free easy, as well as tightens easy, because there's a good piece of fabric there for you to hold on to and grab. A rubberized type material, seems pretty high quality, and breaks free really smoothly. But I think it's important to have the retainers on there, as well as the glove clips, which I'll show you in a little bit. Having features like that just allows you to, first of all, not lose them, but then also use your hands. If you need to get them out and work on something, which happens pretty often, if you have to take a hand out, that's usually what I'll do, is I'll have one glove that is, like I said, on first to put the jacket on, and so that the glove itself can't really be taken off easily and it doesn't get water, moisture up in there, no cold air. Then I have one glove that I'm willing to take off from time to time, usually my right hand. And that one in particular is usually the glove that I cinch the forearm as well as the wrist strap on. So you can see there, the red setting is the high heat, and I'm able to actuate it with my gloves on. The button has a nice kind of detent to it, so it clicks, you can hear it, and you can feel it. In fact, even when the button wasn't visible and I had it under my jacket, I could press the button down, if I was intentional, through my jacket, and I obviously could feel the heat coming through. Even when it's this cold, guys, the medium heat is plenty enough. And so the yellow right there, that's the medium setting. There are 3 settings on these gloves, and that's pretty solid. It's going to help your battery last longer, and if you don't need much, you just need a passive resistance to the cold, this setting right here is excellent. And so I actually recommend the first 2 settings so that you get battery longevity out of it. You're not going to get quite as much time if you're running it at max heat, probably like an hour and a half in pretty cold settings on max heat. But otherwise, you can get a little bit more time if you're willing to be a little conservative with them and run them on settings 1 or 2. Like I said, I found those to be plenty enough. They were great, especially if you're doing any sort of activity. You're moving around, shoveling, snowshoeing, I don't know, whatever you're doing. If you're doing a little bit of activity, you don't need that highest heat setting. But if you're sitting down ice fishing, or you're not mobile, sitting in a cold car somewhere, obviously that highest heat setting is going to be very advantageous. So Minnesota approved, I like them. Ice fishing, snowshoeing, shoveling, all the kind of things that you probably do outdoors and things I do outdoors, I'm comfortable with these. I think they're great, very, very good build quality. It's goat skin, very smooth and comfortable. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and put a discount code and a link down in the description. So if you have any comments or questions, perhaps you already own these and you want to share your experience, that would be awesome. If you don't have something like this yet, you probably need it. And I'm going to tell you to go right now from here and click that link.